So going for little walks and listening to things that make them feel good, such as Beyonce, for example. She makes me feel good. So I put her on if I'm feeling a bit low or feeling a bit rubbish. I'm like, right, let's put her on and I'm going to step into the energy of Beyonce.
I am joined by Alessia Pace. Pace?
Yay, Pace.
Sorry, I just spent 5 minutes trying to say your name. I do apologise. So today we're talking all things mindset and confidence, and you're a confidence coach and domestic abuse mentor, which is incredible. So before we get into all that good stuff about mindset and confidence, I would like you to talk about what it is that you do and what inspired you to do it.
So I'm a confidence coach and domestic abuse mentor. So what I do is I help women that feel stuck, lost, feel low in confidence, any woman that has mental health concerns or issues, anyone that's gone through trauma, anyone that feels that they want to create a life that they love because they're feeling that they're in a life that maybe feels a little bit just kind of 9 to 5 every day, feeling a bit sad about it, they want that spark back, basically. So that's what I do. I help them get that spark back and that fire in their belly. And then the domestic abuse mentoring is where I support women who either have experienced domestic abuse or are within domestic abuse right now. And I help them to learn how to manage it, how to manage the after effects of it, with trauma bonding. We look at all the different types of domestic abuse, and I help them work through all of that through various therapies and mentoring that I do.
That sounds incredible. I know it is very tough when you're going through domestic violence to try and find someone that you feel confident enough to talk about your story, to also reach out, because it is lonely to go through all that. You don't want to be a burden on other people. And there's very much that thing of, well, if you're going through it, get out of it. It's not that easy either.
No. Absolutely not. And that's why I like to help them through that journey if they are within it, because it takes women so many times due to fear and due to how the perpetrator might make them feel that they're unable to leave, or fear of judgment, or fear of, well, what am I going to do financially? And so there's so many different things, so many different reasons and why women stay within these relationships.
And with yourself and what it is that you do, do you have people? Obviously, you like to think that you have happy stories of people coming through it and finding themselves again. Do you also have the people at the very beginning trying to get through the domestic violence aspect and finding themselves again?
Yeah. So what I used to do before this role was I was a family support worker. So I worked with hundreds of women within domestic abuse. So generally the story will be that they will talk to me and it'll take a really long time for them to fully open up. But then when they feel that they can build that trust with me, you find that they listen and they take the information on board, but it's just whether they're ready at that time to actually leave. If they're not ready to leave, then they will go away, think about it, and when they're ready, they come back to you, and then you start that process again. But yeah, I've luckily had quite a few women leave now and start a whole new life, and they feel just like they never look back. So yeah. And I love seeing that transformation.
Definitely. And it's having that empowerment and having that confidence and that control in yourself and in your life. And I love the aspect of you saying that you help them to basically create a life by design and not by default. Like, you are working the 9 to 5, you are in the rat race. And you may be going through a lot of things at home where you're like, I can't get out of this.
Yes.
So I love that aspect of giving people back control.
Yeah, absolutely. That freedom.
Definitely.
In all aspects of their life. Because I feel like we're made to feel that we have to kind of have a certain type of job and live a certain type of way, but actually those things might not make us all happy, and we might not be happy with our home setting, or we might not be happy within our role that we have at work, or within our friendships. And actually it's really important that we recognize that it's okay to make that change. It's okay to want more or want something different. So yeah, I really feel that it's important to empower women to take that step.
Definitely. I have a few brides that have been through past domestic violent relationships, and they
Mhm.
are struggling at the moment with their confidence and their self-esteem
Yeah.
as the wedding planning process is getting
Mhm.
quicker and quicker towards the wedding.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people, especially two brides I've got in mind, they feel almost like an imposter. So they
Yeah.
feel like, I shouldn't have this life. Like,
Yeah.
why am I happy? Like, will this come at a cost? So they're always kind of second guessing. They're kind of still programmed in whatever past relationship they were in
Mm.
previously. How
Yeah.
can they kind of work themselves out of that and help get more confidence and have more of a better mindset in the relationship they're in? Obviously they're in a loving relationship, they're getting
Yeah.
married, but they
Yeah.
still have this past trauma and triggering them.
Mm. Yeah, and I think when you've been in that type of relationship, and then you go into a happy relationship, it can be really conflicting in the mind, because the perpetrator or the person that you're in a relationship with who is toxic can set this narrative in you that makes you feel that you're not worthy of anything more than what you had with them. They make you feel that you're not good enough for someone else. They make you feel like you're somebody that shouldn't be happy. You know, maybe you had this desire to have a certain type of person in your life, and they'll make you feel that you'd never get that kind of character because you're an awful individual. You know, all these kind of different things that they put into your mind. So I think that for brides who have felt that and are now feeling conflicted, I think it's really, really powerful to practice journaling. So writing down everything that they're feeling at the moment and then letting it go. So letting it all out on paper. And one thing I always tell my clients is write a letter to the person that caused you all of this grief. So it could be that individual. Write a letter to them. You're not going to send it to them. You let everything out and then you burn it safely. And that's almost letting that emotion go. It's like, right, that's happened. That's in my past. Now focusing on my present. Another thing to do is to go through little changes, so creating new habits that can then become part of their routine. So things like waking up and practicing maybe a meditation. That can even just be 5 minutes, just to focus on breathing and getting themselves feeling really good about themselves. Affirmations are so powerful. So listening to affirmations every single day. And for example, if they're feeling like they're not worthy, then switch how they're speaking to themselves. And instead of saying, oh my gosh, I just don't feel like this is something that I should have, then instead change the way they're speaking to themselves and go, do you know what? I am worthy of this. This is exactly what I deserve. So it's practicing that as well, reframing their language. There's so many different things they could do. There's also things like self-care for the mind. So going for little walks and listening to things that make them feel good, such as Beyonce, for example. She makes me feel good. So I put her on if I'm feeling a bit low or feeling a bit rubbish. I'm like, right, let's put her on and I'm going to step into the energy of Beyonce. And it's just things like that, making lots of little changes. And all these little changes can create such a huge impact. And I think also getting some support around that is vital, because there's only so much you can do on your own. So getting that support network in place, be it somebody professional, be it a friend who you can just offload and just go, look, you know what, this is how I'm feeling right now. And I just feel like that voice from the past is still there, and talking it through. It's really, really good to do that instead of keeping it all deep down inside.
It really is. I had a moment, actually it was a few weeks ago. My fiance Jacob was doing he's got like a goatee and he's got like a patch here, and he was twizzling it. Now it's not anything big, but my first boyfriend did it and he's never done it before. But I watched him do it and it triggered me and I felt sick and I felt like I'd transported like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he was like, "Are you okay?" Because I looked like I was in shock. And we have a beautiful relationship, like it's very open, so I can speak to him. And I went, "Could you not do that?" And he was like, what have I done?
Yeah.
And I was like, it was just that tiny little movement. And I told him what it was. And he was like, okay, I won't do it again. I won't do it again.
Yeah.
And I went, I know I can't really stop you doing things, but I told him why it triggered me.
Yeah.
And he's aware of it. And so if he goes
Yeah.
to do it, or if I don't know, it was more that I got it off my chest. I was open with him and I said, this is triggering me and this is
Yeah.
why. And he understood it. I mean, he probably still does it. I just don't notice it now.
Yeah.
But it's getting rid of that one bit that would be in my mind, because
Absolutely.
in past relationships, I would have stewed on that and I wouldn't have said anything and I wouldn't have
Yeah.
been honest, but I was honest enough to go, yeah, can you not do that? It sounds
And I
really
think that's really good to do that, to be honest about it.
mm,
And recognizing triggers is vital, and that's a lot of what I do as well with women, is looking at triggers and then their responses to that. Because straight away you go into freeze, fawn, fight or flight mode. So there's 4 different trigger responses, and then what's really good is to recognize those responses, recognize what triggers them, and then look at how you can manage that. And you did that perfectly by just stopping for a bit and then telling him how you felt. That's really, really good and really powerful. And I'm sure you probably felt empowered as well doing that.
definitely. And it sounds really, it's such a small thing and you're like, why are you worried about it? But it was something that I'd never seen him do before.
Yeah.
And because he did it, it took me right back to when I was 16. And then
Yeah.
I was like in shock. And then I had other feelings then come up that I obviously pushed down for years and years. But I think it was having that honesty and raising it at that moment that gave me the power. And then
Yeah.
it kind of went then. And
Per-
so I feel better for it, for sure.
Yeah, there's so many things can trigger you, even a smell or a song or a color, anything can do it. I know one woman I worked with, it was water. That was her trigger. Every time she could hear water being poured, it would trigger her. And it's just about facing those triggers, learning what ways to manage them in the best possible way for you. And then, like you did, addressing it, which is really, really powerful.
Now, I know that you've had some experience. You were a makeup artist,
Yeah,
bridal makeup
yes, I
artist.
would. Yeah.
Did you see a lot of maybe confidence issues with your brides then, or mindset issues? I kind of feel like you're the kind of person that naturally helps others. And so when they're on that chair and you're doing their makeup, you'll naturally give them advice. But is there anything that you saw a lot of that
Mm.
maybe brides can help themselves with now? Or what
Yeah.
stories do you have regarding that?
There was one bride straight away I thought of her. She she was so beautiful and she put all this pressure on herself that she had to look a certain way. The wedding had to feel a certain way, it had to be a certain way. She had really unrealistic expectations, and therefore she was sat in that chair on a wedding day. She was like, I don't even want to do it now, because she just felt so overwhelmed with stress and anxiety. And I just remember saying to her, what's the one thing you wish you could have changed in the whole process of planning your wedding? And she just said, just not being so unrealistic with everything and actually doing it for me, not for everyone else.
Mm.
And that's the key, is do it for you, because when you do, it means you're being authentic to yourself, you're being true to who you are, and then you'll enjoy it because it will be exactly what you want. The wedding day isn't about everyone else, it's about you and your husband or wife to be. And that's the key point I will always say to people. Like any of my friends now, I'll be like, just do it for you. So my brother's getting married.
Mhm.
I keep saying to him, just invite who you want. It doesn't matter if great aunt of this whoever isn't coming. It doesn't matter. It's about you. And I think that takes brides and couples a really long time to get their head around. And I think sometimes society makes you feel you have to have this type of wedding, or family members put all this pressure on you and people fall out and all that. At the end of the day, you're the ones that are getting married. So it's about you. And from that point with that woman, I then told that to all the other brides, and it just on their trials, and it just changed. It changed everything for them. They were like, "Do you know what? That's what I'm going to do." So then they would say to me, "Do you know what? I haven't invited that person. It's made me feel really good." And then they'd get back to me after when they'd be like, "Oh my God, I had such a good time," and because I had it exactly how I wanted, not how everyone else wanted it. And I think that's the key, is just listening to yourself and thinking, right, what is it I really, really want from my wedding day? This. Okay, I'm going to go and get that because it's about us, not about anyone else. And also another thing that I do with my clients anyway is I say to them, if you're in a situation, so for example, for these brides, and let's say they had a daughter, what would they tell their daughter if their daughter came to them with how they're feeling? So putting the bride in the shoes of someone else, and what advice would they give them? Because I guarantee that they would say the exact same thing as what I've just said. It's all about you guys, not about anyone else. And it's getting really firm about that in your mindset and making it really unstoppable, and knowing that no one else has control over it but you guys. You make the choices at the end of the day.
It's true. I couldn't agree more. Part of my mission is to empower couples to have their dream day their way. And it's nice to get that advice from friends and family, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to take it on. It's
absolutely.
And I think we're kind of in an archaic frame of mind where we have to have certain things, we have to have certain traditions. When you actually look at weddings and marriage, it's actually really dark. So why would why are we still doing those things? Like it's not something that I'd like to really keep up with a tradition. But it's nice to know that having that voice, and I'm not the only one saying this, have it your way, do it your way, invite people you want there, because it's your day at the end of the day, nobody else's. They might be part of it if they want to be, but don't let that rule you and rule your day.
Absolutely. And I just thought then of somebody else. So she got married, and the wedding was not what she wanted, it's what she felt she had to have, and it was 20,000 odd pounds. It was this massive thing. Anyway, they broke up. She's getting married again, and we've been in touch again, and she is so happy and relaxed because she's doing it exactly how she wants. She bought her wedding dress online. She's wearing flip-flops. She's having it really chilled, and it's literally how they're not doing a sit-down meal. And I can't tell you the difference in how she is from her first wedding to this wedding. It's completely different. She's so happy. And I think it's that as well, isn't it? It's just letting go of all of those unrealistic expectations and what everyone else wants, and just sit in with yourself and your partner and just think, right, what makes us happy? What will make our day the best it can possibly be? And it's holding on to that and listening to you both, not anyone else.
Definitely. How would our couples or my couples go about setting boundaries? So how would they set boundaries with loved ones or friends that may want to push, or naturally will push your buttons, or that kind of thing? How can they go about setting boundaries with that?
So I think it's good for them to first think of what boundaries do they want. So what are the boundaries you want in place? And coming together as a couple and making that decision jointly, because then you're both singing from the same hymn page. Then it's about thinking, right, okay, so let's say somebody wants you to invite somebody, or they want to get involved with the seating plan. It's you just sitting there going, do you know what? Thank you for offering that, but we are really keen to do it like this and this, and we're going to plan that. And then it's almost like that's it. You set that boundary. If they keep pushing it, you have to just keep repeating yourself, and then just don't tell them anything about what you're doing until it's done, until it's finalized, and go, do you know what? We've done it already, and you'll find out on the day. Even things like that, because people seem to, I don't know, when you get married or when you're having a child, people all put their little voice in, don't they? All their opinions, and go, oh no, you shouldn't do that, you should do this. And sometimes it's about taking back that control and not telling everybody everything you're doing, keeping it to yourselves. And you can tell them later on down the line, or let them wait till the day. You can even say to them, do you know what? We're keeping it all a little bit quiet because we've got some little plans that we've got in place. So we're not going to tell people anything. And that'll quickly stop them from asking loads of questions, because there's nothing that they can work on from that then.
That's good.
So just, come together as a couple, get really strong, and then set those boundaries together, and then talk together about how you want to face it, how you want to address it. And you don't need to tell people anything if you really don't want to. You really don't. But it's that you're almost made to feel like you have to, don't you? You have to get everyone involved. Actually, you don't. So it depends on what those boundaries are, really. But work together on it. That's key, I think.
Yeah, I was speaking to a lady, Rachel. She said communication is key for everything, from the start to the end, throughout a whole marriage and all of that. I think setting the boundaries early, especially with those that you think would make a fuss or things like that. I think setting those boundaries as early as possible and keeping them sticking to your
consistent.
guns.
That's key as well. Absolutely. So as if you drop a boundary for one person, then you keep that up for another person. The other person's going to be like, hang on a second, but how come they're doing this and this and this, and I can't do this and this and this? And that's going to cause conflict. And that's the last thing that you want. You've got enough going on your plate as it is. You don't need to have that happening. But, it's all about having that stance and being true to who you both are and what you both want and sticking to it.
Yeah, definitely. I did want to ask you briefly before we talk about your membership site. I wanted to ask you about confidence with my brides who go wedding dress shopping. Because I know you're all about mindset and giving confidence and things like that. So I'm getting better, but I am a little self-conscious with the thought of going wedding dress shopping. And having that whole experience. And I know a lot of my brides are the same. So what could they do, or what could my brides do to feel a bit more confident, a bit more laid back, not so anxious or stressed when wedding dress shopping?
Wedding dress shopping can be very stressful, can't it? And so I completely hear what you're saying with that. I remember it from my days of doing it. So I think when I look at brides that I've worked with, as in bridal makeup, and so I'd meet them at the trial, and sometimes they wouldn't have their dresses. The common theme with them was that they would have a specific dress that they would want, and they would really kind of obsess over that specific dress. They would then go shopping, and then on the day of their wedding, it'd be something completely different. And they said that when they had this obsession with a certain dress, they put it on, that knocked their confidence and that made them feel really rubbish. So one piece of advice that I would give is go in with an open mind. Don't have a little idea, do you want lace or silk, whatever, do that. But don't have a specific dress you want, because everyone's bodies are beautiful just where they are. Everyone's bodies are different shapes. I had an idea of what I wanted. I went in, I came up with a complete opposite. And also, I think what would be really, really good is to, before you go shopping, is listen to things that make you feel good about yourself. Again, Beyonce, I'm going to speak to her again, speak about her again. Listen to a playlist that's like a confidence playlist for you. So think about all the songs that make you feel good about yourself. Make a playlist and listen to that for at least 5 days before you go shopping. Journal about it. Journal as in that you are confident, you are beautiful in and out. Write it all down constantly. The more you speak to yourself like that, and the more you write like that, the more your mind is going to believe that, and then the more that you'll feel it. So that's real key as well, as being consistent and kind to yourself. And then enjoy it. It's the only time you're going to do it, so enjoy it. Go into that shop with an open mind and with a positive mind, and think, I'm going to enjoy every second of this. And just, I know sometimes you can get certain staff members that can be a little bit like, oh, what about this, what about that? Before you even start that process, say to them, I'm here to enjoy it, and I'm just going to be really relaxed about it. Because when they're tense and they're on you, you start to feel tense and you start to feel anxious. So it's all about setting the scene before you go. And then whilst you're there, because you would have done all that work, your mind's going to feel a lot better and your confidence will be lifted up. And go in there just having the best time ever. And if you can, take people that make you feel good about yourself. Because if you take people that don't, it's not going to be what you want. So make sure you have your best buddies with you that literally rise you up and make you feel good. That's another key part to it.
Yeah, my sister was the same. She had, when she went in for wedding dress shopping, she had an idea in her head of the dress. She tried it on, it looked good, but the dress that she said she never wanted was the dress that she chose. And so
funny.
It's like, oh, I don't want this, I don't want that. And she came out with it and she's like, oh,
yeah,
she felt amazing in it. Another thing is that, she went in with the people that she wanted there. Just a small amount of us was there. It was me and my sister, me and my mom and my daughter at the time. She couldn't get her mother-in-law. She does have a close bond with her, but we went out on a whim and she just did it and brought a dress. But I have got friends that have had different experiences because of the people that they've taken with them.
Yeah.
that they necessarily didn't want there, but felt like they had to have them there. How can you go about, maybe there's a friend or a relative that's kind of tagging along, or you feel like you have to have them there and they're there, and you're not feeling great about the experience. How can you work yourself up and big yourself up to make yourself feel better about the experience that you're in?
Okay, so I'd probably say, if there's other people there with you, have a quiet word with a couple of them and just say, look, if they say anything, can you just please just help me out a little bit? And you'll find that will really help you, because if you get somebody making comments or saying things that bring you down and everyone else is silent, it just manifests in your head. Because if you have somebody there that's like your voice and going, no, 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 look at that, she looks stunning, and actually quietening down that negative voice, it will make the atmosphere a lot better, make you feel a lot better. But I guess I'd probably say work really hard to not have them there. And if it means you have to go with just one or two people without them knowing, that's fine. Or if you say to them, look, I am going to go dress shopping, but I'm not sure who I'm going to take yet. And then just take one person with you and then tell them after, that's fine. At the end of the day, you're the most important person in this process, not them. And they need to think about you in it, not themselves, because that's what this is really. This is about them. They're only thinking about themselves, and they're thinking, but I want to go. Actually, it's not about you, it's about the bride. And sometimes a lot of people find that really tricky to get their head around. So yeah, it's just, stick to your guns, stick to what you want, and go in there with an open mind, go in there with a couple of people that maybe can be your voice for you. And do you know what, if you need to, listen to your playlist whilst you're getting changed if you have to. If that's going to help you in between coming back out, with a dress on, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, create what it is that you want to create. Create
Yeah.
that atmosphere, create that feeling. Feeling's
Yeah.
everything for me. I feel like you have to have it in your mind what it is that you want and work towards that feeling, because
Absolutely.
I mean, ultimately, we all want to feel great and amazing and create that special time for us. And setting those boundaries early, as we discussed earlier, about even if you went with one person and you're saying, this is all the surprise, this is all I want to do, I'm doing it our way, and create it that way.
And that's key, isn't it? And think about the version of you that has the best day ever at their wedding day. What does that feel like and look like? And when you get really clear on that vision, when you wake up, step into the version of that woman every single day, and you will find that you will feel so much better, and you will look at things head on in a different way than if you didn't practice that, that energy as well, and really kind of making yourself feel good and empowered and inspire yourself, motivate yourself. You are your number one cheerleader at the end of the day. So as long as you can really kind of work on that mindset and on that confidence, you will feel so much better, and you'll love your wedding day more than you ever could.
It sounds amazing. It really does. I could talk about this all day.
Ah!
It's a subject that I really love, because mindset is everything as well. Like everything that I do within my business and my personal life, it's not something that I've ever had a grasp on before. And it kind of feels a bit alien to a lot of people. It feels a bit woo-woo, a bit spiritual. But actually it's not. It's actually imperative for us to have this mindset, to feel good and create the life that we want and have the experiences we want, whether that's wedding, our house, whatever, is to create that life, create our life the way that we want and not how people have told us it should be.
Exactly. And if you wake up and you think, oh my gosh, I feel so stressed today, you're then just going to live that day feeling worse and worse and worse. You wake up and you feel stressed, literally just be like, okay, I recognize I feel this way. What can I do to make myself feel better? And if it means, I don't know, go for a quick walk before work, do it. If it means watch a certain thing whilst you're getting ready for work because it makes you feel good, do it. Eat a certain breakfast, do it. Whatever it means, whatever it is you need to do to make yourself feel better, do it from the word go when you wake up, and then you'll feel that your whole day will feel so much better. And the key with mindset is creating powerful habits and then creating them as part of your routine really does do wonders for how you feel within. and the way then you live is completely different. And I started doing this about 3 years ago now, and it just completely changed my life.
It does. The way we speak to ourselves. So I said, oh, I wasn't that confident
Yeah.
about wedding dress shopping. It's all because of the voices that were in my head saying, you know, you're fat, that doesn't fit you, that won't suit you, or thinking, well, I bet they're thinking I look fat. You know, all of those things, those voices that aren't actually our own, are
No.
overtaking our day.
Yeah.
And it was been about, how do I talk to myself and
Mm.
actually correcting myself? So what would be really easy for me is to go make a joke about being big, or make a joke about my accent, or things like this.
Mm.
And actually it's not funny, it's not a joke, because you're saying out loud, I don't know, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that,
Yeah.
when actually you're not.
Mhm.
Why, why are we programming ourselves to speak to ourselves in a horrible way? We wouldn't ever say that to a friend or my daughter or anything like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Why are we saying it to ourselves?
Yeah. And sometimes some of it is that it's about keeping ourselves safe. So if we think other people think it, if we agree with them, it feels safer.
Mhm.
It's all about that. It's this. It's easier to think negatively than it is to think positively sometimes. So we always will go down that route. But actually, if we can put all of this groundwork in, so I say to my clients, it's like building a house. Start building a really strong foundation, and then you can start putting the bricks on top, add the windows, add the different rooms, and then you add the roof. And there'll be moments where the roof might lose a tile, but that's okay. You just pick one up and you pop it back on again. And it's all just a constant journey, but about being consistent and reframing. So being kind to yourself, like you said, and just having these real powerful habits that can create wonders for you, and just knowing that you're worth it. At the end of the day, you're worth it.
Yes, it's so true. And also there's not a time limit on this either. Like you can
Absolutely.
start this at any time, any point
Yeah.
in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm 38 and I started 3 years ago. And I always think, God, what would I be if I did this when I was like 18?
Yeah.
And but that's fine. That's how my journey has had to be. And all of everything I've gone through has brought me to this place now and got me in this frame of mind now. So, it's all a journey, and everyone's journey is slightly different, and that's okay, as long as you just start it at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I know my listeners will get so much value from you and
Oh,
all the
good.
advice that you've got. I am going to be popping a blog and things together like that so people can find you. But I want to talk about your membership.
Yeah.
Can you go on, tell us a little bit more about it? What can we get from it? What value do you have in there?
Okay, so my butterfly membership is something I've been making for about 2 years. It's like my little baby.
Mhm.
And so what it is it's for women to be able to, we're all busy at the end of the day. So I do have one-to-one clients, but some people think, oh gosh, I just want to tap into something when I can, just to fill my cup up. So I was like, oh, what can I do with that then? Membership. So what it is it's you get your very own dashboard and a private Facebook group with all the members in and with me in. And every month is a different theme, and it's all around mindset, confidence, self-worth. It's around creating a life that you dream of and you really truly want. It's around mental health, healthy relationships, setting boundaries. Everything you can think of basically is in this membership. And every month I do coaching sessions that are on your dashboard that you can access anytime. You get a workbook, you get journal prompts, you get things like daily planners, trackers, you get affirmations. I record a meditation for you. There's so much in it, and I also have guest experts that come on too. And then there's also the private Facebook group where you can message me anytime you need me. And also I go live in there twice a month. So there's so much in it. And for June, it's only £5.55, which is the same as like a large Starbucks. So I feel like saying to some people, like, what would you rather, a confidence, like up level in your confidence, or a Starbucks coffee? Do you want to have your cup filled, or do you want to have a Starbucks coffee? And I did this with so many people, and they were like, yeah, I see what you mean. So I think we always put that side of ourselves at the bottom of the list, and we'd rather just quickly buy a Shein top for £5 or something, or just to give ourselves a quick fix of something. But actually, the key is investing in yourself long term, with self-worth and confidence and mindset. And when you really work on yourself from within, that's when a transformation can happen for you. And then you don't need to have quick fixes all the time to make yourself feel better, because you're naturally just going to feel better anyway. So yeah, I could talk about it all day, but yeah, that's my butterfly membership.
That sounds incredible. It sounds like, yeah, don't get that coffee.
Yeah,
Go and
yeah,
sign up, because that coffee's only going to last a few minutes, but you can get a lot
exactly.
from the membership. So
Yeah,
where
and you do it when you can. So that's another key as well. Do it when you can as well. It's not like restricted to certain times. And the recordings that I do live, I leave it in the Facebook group so you access anytime as well.
Oh, amazing. That's really good to know. So where can my couples come and find you?
So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and I have my own website page as well. So they are all called DEA Coaching, which is DEA Coaching. So that's where I am. And on my Instagram and my Facebook, you can message me anytime as well if you need anything. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Sounds amazing. Thank you so much for this incredible conversation.
Thank you.
You've given me so many little shifts in my own mindset, and I know a lot of my couples will get a lot from this as well, especially my brides out there.
Oh, good. I'm really pleased. If there's anything, you just shout.